Good morning. We're back in the cafe doing our next video. This one is the first in our series of quick breads. This is the muffin method. So we're going to do a little measurements along with this. I did pre-measure my flour just because it's a bigger quantity, but we're going to get in and work with a little bit, start with our volume measurements. So I got my recipe up on the board for the students. We start out with half a cup of flour. And with the muffin method, it's very easy. These are called quick breads because literally you'll see, yes, I have the ingredients up here, but the mixing time is probably be done about a minute and a half, and then you pop them right in the oven. So if you're ever in a quick pinch and you need some stuff to start off, you know, maybe it's breakfast and you have some croissants, but you want to vary stuff in there, you could do muffins very quickly. So we're using, in this recipe, we're using both baking soda and baking powder. So it's a teaspoon of each. And again, when we're doing volume, level that off. I got my dough cutter here. Easiest way to level it off. Nice level teaspoon. Baking soda, same thing. Baking soda is easier to level off because you can run it right across the top of the box. Tricks that you'll learn as you go through. So a teaspoon of them. I'm not even looking at the board because I memorized this very quickly. Half teaspoon of salt. So in the muffin method, you take all your dry together, all your wet together, and mix them. Now in this recipe, it also calls for bananas because it's banana muffins. I'm not going to add my bananas because I have just enough for the students. So I'm just going to make plain muffins with this, and I'll maybe add some chocolate chips and all. Yes, we got a question.
Circling back, I see that you're using iodized salt.
Yes.
For muffins, could you use kosher salt, or is it better to use iodized?
So with the muffins, I will use the iodized salt because, like I said, it's very quick mixing. So if you're using kosher salt, which is bigger grains, it's not necessarily going to disperse through your recipe enough. So that's why with the bread, we did use the kosher salt because it was a longer mixing time. With this, we're going to use the iodized salt because it's a quicker mixing time and we want to get it blended in right away. And then I have pre-measured 3/4 cups of sugar. And like I said, at this point, we mash up our bananas and put them in. I'll probably throw some chocolate chips in there or blueberries. The one thing we will get into later, more in our theory lessons, if you do substitute one ingredient for the other, you may have to vary your oven temperature. Because with the added sugar in a blueberry as compared to maybe a banana, your muffin will rise really quick. The top will look like a pyramid almost, and that's called tunneling, which we don't want to happen. So we will get into a lot of the science stuff of this later on. So my liquids in this one, very easy. 1/3 cup of butter and 1 egg. It was very easy for me too because we had the quarter blocks of butter. I looked on the side and I was like, hey, 1/3 cup's measured off. So I will blend my liquids together before I put them in. Then you're going to take all your liquid, mix the two of them together. We're going to mix them until they're blended. And then, again, there's two things you could do with this. You don't want to put it in the fridge and let it sit, because once these are mixed right now, your baking soda and baking powder are starting to activate. So we don't want it to overactivate. If you want it to get ahead and maybe it's a Wednesday and you're like, well, I have a brunch on Sunday, but I have some time on a Wednesday, you could mix this together, put it in the freezer, and that'll stop the activation process. So by putting it in the freezer, you basically made them a few days ahead, You pull it out, you pull it out whatever, late Saturday night or early Sunday morning, put them in a tray and bake them. So that's the two ways that you could do it. But with this, we prefer to, like I said, it only takes a few minutes. We prefer to make it, put them in a pan, and bake them. So the next one up in our series is going to be the